Hi, it's Cheryl. So today it is September the 10th, and we're coming to the end of our growing season. So today I'm going to be pruning my tomatoes for the last time. And what I mean by that is I'm going to be pruning off any of the new flowers that are on the tomato plants because they're not going to have enough time to actually produce tomatoes and be able to mature and ripen. Like if I figured that they were going to at least produce them and they were to a full size, then I could pick them, bring them into the house and put them under newspaper and let them ripen on their own in the darkness. But we're just coming into a time like probably be lucky if we will get probably will get safely 3 more weeks in the growing season. But beyond that, I just have no idea where we'll be at as far as that goes. So I'm just going to kind of show you what I mean by pruning my tomatoes for the last time. Okay, so here I have a yellow pear tomato, and probably from about here on this plant, probably about here down, I have yellow pears. They're a half decent size. Some are a little bit smaller, but at least they have a chance to produce and get to the size of maturity. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically topping off the top of this tomato plant. So I'm just going to cut this piece off right there, and then I'll just put that in the compost. And then there's another section of this yellow pear that has grown up from in behind. I'm also going to cut this leaf that's in front of it, and then I'm going to cut this one back, the top off of it as well. And it seems like it's a pretty drastic for pruning it, but really they just don't have enough time to be able to mature. And this growing season has been kind of funny because it is quite late. I mean, it's September the 10th, and last year I was picking ripe tomatoes by around the middle of August, and I have picked a few ripe cherry tomatoes, and that was my chocolate sprinkles and my natural black cherry tomatoes, but I haven't picked anything off of my yellow pear yet. I have some tomato plants on my deck, my tumbler tomato plants, and I have picked ripe tomatoes off of them as well. So next to this one I have another yellow pear, and I'm going to clip that back as well. So to here, I mean, it's a lot, but there's no point in having that part of the plant. I want the plant to focus on the energy of the tomatoes that are existing on here. Since we have a limited opportunity window, it's a small window of growing season. Now we have such a short growing season in this area. We're a zone 3, and we live in the Cariboo, which is the central British Columbia in Canada, and our growing season varies from 90 days to 110-ish days. They say our first frost was supposed to be September the 2nd, and we are at September the 8th, and the forecast is not showing anything even getting close to having a frost over the next 10 days even. The next 3 days, including today, is going to be 27 degrees Celsius, which is 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And even then, by the end of next weekend, it's still going to be in the high teens. Like, we're just having such a late season, which I am totally grateful for. I love my garden, I love growing, so I'm really happy about this growing season. Well, maybe not this growing season as far as how everything is so late, but I'm just happy that we've had the amount of heat that we have had to help our plants be able to finish maturing. Okay, so here are this is my chocolate sprinkles. I actually have 20 tomato plants in my raised beds in the vertical growing, and so I have quite a few tomatoes that I am going to be pruning back. Now my chocolate sprinkles are just doing amazing, and I'm probably going to be pruning probably the least amount off of them. I'm just going to show you the clusters on these, my chocolate sprinkles, my New Girl tomatoes, and my natural black cherry, just to give you an idea. Like, I have so many tomatoes, and I'm just hoping I can get them all to be able to get to their size, to be able to have them ripen, vine ripen. I mean, that's definitely what you want to have, is your tomatoes to be able to ripen right on the vine, as opposed to bringing them in and having them ripen in the house. So I'm just going to show you how many tomatoes I actually have going on here. I'm really happy with I mean, you just look at all of the cluster of tomatoes, and these chocolate sprinkles are just, they're so good, and they're such, you know, a great size. I'm going to come over to the other side. Like, just look at that. That is absolutely beautiful. Now I'm going to come over, and in behind here, these are my New Girl tomatoes. They are just loaded with tomatoes, and I can't wait, because I have plans to be canning those, whether I'm doing salsa, canned tomatoes, stewed tomatoes, you name it. I have lots of plans for those. Over here I have more cherry tomatoes. Now these are my natural black cherry. I love these tomatoes. I love, like, they're ripening, but they have like a dull reddish black tinge to them, and I absolutely love the flavor of these too. Great by themselves, great in a salad. Okay, so here's how I decide whether or not I'm keeping it. So here I have a tomato, and it's growing good, and there are some existing, there's flowers, but there's no actual tomatoes. So I'm just taking off this excess that does not have any tomatoes on it. And here, this branch here, it has no tomatoes on it either, just a lot of dried up flowers, and so it's not going to produce a tomato in time. So I'm cutting off this section right there, and I'm just going to leave this tomato so it can mature. And then I'm just cutting off this little excess because there are no tomatoes on it neither. These tomatoes here, these are my Brandywine tomatoes, and when I look at this one, it has no tomatoes on it, so I am going to cut out, oh, there's no tomatoes at all on this whole piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out this whole branch from down here. Like, this seems like a very big section, but there's absolutely no tomatoes on this vine. And so this is why I'm cutting out this excess, so it can focus its energy on ripening these tomatoes. Because these tomatoes, the Brandywine, they're a big slicer. And right now, I was picking these last year, the middle of August, and using them. And they're still not anywhere near being ready to be picked. So I need to focus the energy on the fruit, not on the plant or on new flowers. So yeah, we have a lot to do today. I have a lot of pruning to get done, and with 20 tomato plants, I am gonna be probably filling up my wheelbarrow quite a few times if I'm gonna be chopping off the tops of these to get them to the way that I want them. So I just thought I'd bring you along to join me and see what I'm doing with my tomatoes. So thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, put a like in there. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to subscribe as well. So thanks for joining me. It's Cheryl with Caribou Country Lifestyle, and we'll talk again. Bye for now.